Mr. Saktiandi Supa.
For the last 3 years, the National Environment Agency took on average about 5 months to issue a fine after detection of the breeding site. More time is needed for cases that require further investigation and verification of the individual to be held accountable and issued with a fine. Surges in the number of cases over the past few years, especially years with large dengue outbreaks, have led to longer processing times. My ministry is currently reviewing the enforcement process with a view to reduce the time taken to issue a fine. From 2020 to date, NEA has issued fines to about 22,400 households for mosquito breeding offences. Of these, there were 4 instances, or 0.02%, where fines were issued to the wrong household due to administrative errors. These cases were rectified immediately when they were made known to NEA through feedback or appeals. NEA will continue to improve and continue to monitor and improve its processes to avoid such errors.
Mr. Saktiandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to have 2 SQs, please. The reason why I'm asking this PQ and this consequent SQs is because I've been getting a number of residents complaining about letters coming in close to 6 months or a bit lengthy in some sense. So one has told me that it's their first offence as well, and they won't get fined another, but then they found out eventually 6 months later that they got a fine in their letterbox. So my Toa Payoh residents found this a bit worrying, because 6 months after the fact. And also the fines are substantial and can be quite significant for some of the low-income residents at my constituency. So first SQ, Mr. Speaker, is can I ask if the letters can be sent earlier? I think SPS has highlighted that you're trying to work to reduce it, but if you can hasten that a bit, it'll be very useful, because it can help in some ways, especially when the offence is initiated earlier. And can SPS give some details of how first offenders are treated in such cases, especially the first offenders, because they're not familiar with this. Second, can there be instances where the letters can be handed in physically? Because you mentioned there are 4 cases where there were wrong addresses given to those that are fined. In instances where the owner of the breeding sites are on the ground floor of a HDB block, for example. And I think where the locations of the breeding sites could not be ascertained clearly. So I think there were some instances of that, and whether we can avoid that by handing the letters physically in such cases, and to check the ownership of the breeding sites. If SPS can share a bit on that. Thanks.
SPSB.
NEA's key priority is to make sure that dengue transmission is stopped. So resources are devoted to detect and destroy breeding habitats. So of course, the follow-through will be issuance of fines. In fact, actually residents should be happier, right? If they receive a fine later, they have more time to respond to that. But nevertheless, during dengue outbreak periods, there will be a lot more inspections and potentially more breeding grounds detected, and therefore more fines, more administrative work to be done. But we are committed to improve the processes so that residents don't have to wait too long to receive the fine. Actually, the current practice is that when a breeding habitat is detected, a notification slip is given to the household. Okay, or if the owner is not at home, the slip will be left at the household. All right. So, and the slip will inform that enforcement may be taken if the sample is verified to contain a vector. Okay. So this slip will be issued when there is larva being found within the premises. And with this slip, it is very clear that in black and white that detection has been done. There's been detection. There is no practice that first-time offenders will not be fined. There's no such practice. Okay. And NEA will remind its officers not to give this wrong impression that first-timers will be let off more easily, because dengue can cause fatality. And we will need everyone to play their part to keep mosquitoes at bay and to remove any potential breeding grounds. And your second question is on the wrong address. So if the owner is at home, the slip will be given, all right? But sometimes there could be challenges or arguments, as in, let's say, a common a pot in the common corridor, all right? It may not necessarily belong to the unit closest to it. Okay, that's where the resident who received the notice can appeal, and NEA will investigate and ascertain who is the rightful owner and the rightful party to be responsible for upkeeping the area. And NEA will review all appeals properly and on case-by-case basis, depending on situation, to exercise leniency where it is necessary. Thank you.
Mr. Saktiandi?
Mr. Speaker, I just want to seek clarification from SPS. I think the reason why I asked also is because the 6 months is because first offender, so they get it 6 months later, thinking that they weren't supposed to be fined. So I think that the extent of the duration actually exacerbated the concerns of the resident. So my clarification is in regards to the notification slip. Can SPS share the notification slip will be placed into the letterbox or under the unit, a HDB flat door, or in what ways will the notification slip be informed? Because I am wondering whether there will be instances where the notification slips would sort of either go sent to wrong addresses or may have actually flown away or dissipate if it's hanged on the door as well. Thank you.
I need to confirm this, but I'm quite sure it's not at the letterbox because NEA won't have access to the letterboxes. Right? So in cases where the household is not occupied at the point in time, I believe it is placed under the door. Okay, and of course there could be cases where a household member returns home, may not understand what it's about and ignores it or throws it away. That is possible, and hence the rightful party may not know that inspection was conducted and some breeding was found. But the slip will provide a contact number for the household to call to ask for more details, verification, or provide information that will help NEA in the investigation, or to refute that the item where breeding was found doesn't belong to them. So all these, there's a channel for member public to get in touch with NEA to assist in its investigations. Thank you.